Welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday Tiger Talk. We are back to you live from the indoor practice facility, getting ready to run us out of here in a little bit so they can get practice going as they prepare for Syracuse. It's Tuesday for us, but it's Wednesday for those guys.
I don't know. It feels like Wednesday for me.
Feels like Wednesday for Will. All right, Will, we're going to start with you. Obviously, nobody out there wants to hear anything about Kelly Bryant.
Nobody. Which surprised me. The first question today was not asked about Kelly Bryant. I'm like, hello. That should be the first question. If you're going to ask the first question, make it about what everybody wants to hear about in a week like this. And everybody wants to know about Kelly Bryant. Luckily, the second question was about Kelly Bryant, so we were ready to it was answered. And Dabo,
we got all the answers.
No, we didn't. Dabo, as I said in my story, Dabo was direct but evasive. In other words, said he practiced, did all the reps, but doesn't know if he's going to start on Saturday. Wouldn't really tell us that. I mean, on Friday, wouldn't tell us if he's going to start or not. So you kind of take it for what it is. He says he's doing all the reps. That tells me he's going to practice. He's going to start.
He said he expected him to go because
he was encouraged.
The next question was about who else is hurt? Foster, and he said, "Yeah, I expect both of them to go."
Yeah, so he expects them to go. But to expect them to go, and he said he was encouraged. Exact words with Kelly was encouraged. I mean,
then after when he talked about Foster, he did say, "I expect both of them to go."
Right. Yeah, and so he's evasive.
But later in the last question, he was asked,
he said, "This is why I said
is it a definite?" And
he said, "Well, we'll see after practice today."
He practiced yesterday. We'll see how he does today. So, if you want to know what's happening, you got to remember last week, Dabo and team didn't know what was happening when they showed up in Death Valley, and all of a sudden Wake Forest brings another quarterback out there. So I think Dabo's he's not trying to be dishonest, but yeah. I think he's also trying to keep Syracuse guessing a little bit.
Well, yeah, and as anybody who read our insider report, we got the word from the ACC that it's just really a gentleman's agreement among the coaches about the injury reports. So they don't necessarily have to give Syracuse that information. So,
are you saying Dabo's not a gentleman?
No, Dabo's a gentleman. I'm just saying Wake Forest did it last week, so why not?
I expect Dabo will list him as questionable when we get the official injury report. Yeah. Usually we get it Thursday. We might get it tomorrow. We'll see.
We'll have to get it tomorrow because tomorrow's our last practice.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see what we hear on the official injury report. All right. You listened to Dabo talk about another topic, and he talked about the greatest NFL coach of all time.
He did. Well, first of all, one of the subtle, improvements that Clemson's defense has made this year is cutting down on the pass interference penalties. Last season, Clemson led the nation in pass interference penalties. This year, they've been a lot better, a lot more cleaner, playing with a lot better technique in the secondary. And one of the reasons for that, Dabo said, is that he actually took a page out of Bill Belichick's playbook, so to speak. He said that he got the idea of having Clemson's DBs wear boxing gloves in practice to help them out with their technique. He got that idea from Belichick, who had been doing it for a while. He actually was just listening to a conversation that Belichick had, and he was like, well, man, if that's working pretty well for them, Belichick's a pretty smart guy. If that's working pretty well for them, we might as well try it. And he said, and so far it has worked well for them. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Dabo kind of pulling a page out of Belichick's playbook there and doing something. And it's like I said, last year Clemson led the nation. This year they've cut down on them. So it seems to work. Whatever works, right, guys?
Well, you got the best quarterback of all time, best coach of all time. So might as well steal some stuff from the Patriots. Don't steal the bad stuff from the Patriots. All right, Will.
Don't do Deflategate.
Coach Venables spoke with us. Last one we had today. What'd you hear from Coach V?
Well, Coach V is always the signal of what can happen each week if you really pay attention to him. Always. And so if he's really loose, Clemson's defense is going to dominate, and the team's going to dominate overall. Because that's just because when the defense dominates, generally the team does. And so, that gives you a good idea. Venables was a little tight today. Now I don't mean that's going to don't read that. That means Syracuse is going to beat him all, but that tells you he's got a lot of respect for Syracuse's offense, is what it tells me. And that's kind of some of the subject matter was around Syracuse. Their quarterback Eric Dungy. He talked about the respect he had for him as a quarterback and what he can do. They got the big 250-pound running back. But the thing that I think probably worries him the most is their tempo. They're a lot faster than Clemson, and when I say that, you got to go watch them on tape, and you'll understand what I'm saying. They're way faster than Clemson with their tempo, and Clemson is not deep in some areas on that defensive line, and they don't even substitute. Syracuse does it. They don't even substitute. They'll keep the same personnel on the field, and they just go. And so that means you got to be ready to go. And as Austin Bryant told us yesterday, they have to. Coach does a good job of stressing things in practice and making them stressful and stuff like that. And that's going to have to pay off this week because you got a short week. Then you got to go play that kind of offense, and you're thin in certain situations, especially at defensive end. Those defensive ends do what all day? They rush upfield. Well, about third quarter, you wear down if you're constantly having to go like that. So I can see Venables is concerned about that, and it's definitely something to worry about if you're a Clemson fan.
Actually, this Clemson fan is not worried about that at all. I actually love that because that means Bryant, Farrell, Wilkins, Lawrence are going to stay on the field. We're not going to be putting in the second, third team guys as much because we can't substitute. So we're going to have to roll out the starters. We're going to have to roll with the starters for that drive. And you got the best front four in the country. Keeping them on the field more versus having them on the field less, to me, that's a positive. Yeah. All right, Gavin. Wilkins, speaking of the best front four in college football, what did we hear from Christian today?
Well, Wilkins said today that Clemson wants to send a message this week, and that message, according to Wilkins, is that they want to go out and play a complete, strong game for 4 quarters. Clemson's defense is dominant as it's been this year. There have been some late scores allowed. We've heard the defense talk about that this week, how they didn't like giving up those late scores to Wake Forest. And so this week they're really going in with the mindset right before the bye on the road to send this message that, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to dominate for 4 quarters. We're going to finish the game strong, and heading into the bye week, especially with not playing the next 2 weeks, they just want to leave an impression and just make a statement. That's what Wilkins said they want to do. And Hunter Renfrow kind of talked along the same lines. He said, hey, Clemson's been getting a lot of questions about, hey, how much are you looking forward to this bye week? How beneficial is that going to be for you guys? But Renfrow said, hey, it's not the break yet. We're looking to go into this game and finish strong and play up to our standard before we even start thinking. The bye will get here when it gets here. Right now they're focused in on going to Syracuse and taking care of business there before they worry about the bye week. So I think that's a positive hearing those things from those guys.
Yep, and we're going to have it all covered for you up from Syracuse, New York. Not our favorite trip of the year, but was the first time. Now we're on number 3. It's not going to snow this early. I don't know if I can handle 4 days in the car with Will. We'll see how that goes. But we will have everything covered. When we travel, we work while we travel, or I should say these guys work while we travel. I drive and try to pay attention to the road. So we got tons of stuff headed your way. We'll have it all covered for you before the game, after the game, all weekend long as Tigers look to go 7-0. Stay tuned to TCI for the most complete coverage of Clemson football.